Hello Antonio, my name's Johnny. I was just wondering what kind of things do I need to take for this survival day I'm going to come on?
Before starting the course, Johnny phoned Antonio to find out what groundwork he needed to do. Antonio asked him to gather some sticks to be used to create tools to make a fire. Johnny went looking in the woods in Selbridge.
The kind of wood I was told to look for was something that's not rotten, which this pretty much is.
He gave Johnny guidelines on how to make sure the wood was suitable. Using his nail, he had to check that the wood was not too fresh.
So I think something like this would be perfect because there's absolutely no leaves and there doesn't seem to be much life about it, like so. Here, should be about a foot long, so the mince stick, just break it there, to strip a bit of the bark off and run your nail down so you can see that there is a line there. So it's not too thick and it's not too shallow. I have absolutely no clue how many sticks I need to get, so I'm actually going to ring Antonio now and find out. But first, what I'm going to do, because I know with my head I'm going to lose this, go into phone book, go into add name, put in Antonio.
Having added Antonio to his phone book, Johnny phoned him to check how much wood he needed. He also took the chance to confirm a date for the course.
I'll probably be chatting to you before that. All right, good luck, bye-bye. And yeah, so the 6th. So what I'm going to do now is put a reminder on my phone. I'm just after getting a text message. It's from Antonio. It says I want to see you before 9, so that's an early start for me.
Would you believe that in Ireland today, over 90% of people own a mobile phone and over 1.5 billion text messages are sent every year? Today's reading tip is about reading text messages. When someone sends you a text message from their phone, it arrives in the inbox of your phone. If you want to read it, you go to your inbox. Let's have a look at an example of a text message. It looks a bit strange, but if you try and say it out loud, it makes more sense. Want to see you before 9, okay? What has happened is that the person writing the message has taken a few shortcuts. WNT is the word want with the vowel A dropped out. The letter C has been used instead of writing the full word see, and the letter U instead of the word you. Numbers have been used to take a few different shortcuts. The number 2 has been used instead of the letters TO, and the number 9 instead of writing out the word. Now this one's interesting. Here, the letter B and the number 4 make the word before. As you get the hang of it, reading text messages becomes easier. It's just a case of getting used to this new way of communicating, and it always helps if you try reading the message aloud.
Antonio, I'm told that you've got a task for us. We've got to go into the forest and do something.
Well, you know, we got everything ready to light a fire, so I suggest we go and get some pine needles.
Grand, yeah.
And then pine needles?
Yeah, we can make us a nice cup of tea later on.
Pine needle tea?
That's it.
What does that taste like then?
It'll taste lovely, you'll find out soon enough.
Oh, don't give us an idea before I go out in there now with all these midges around up the deep dark forest. I want to know what it's going to taste like. Give us an idea. Is it minty?
I really couldn't tell you.
Oh God, the joy of surprising and discovering. Right, where do we go?
Well, you can go down the trail to the left and into that forest there. You'll find plenty of fresh pine needles there.
Right. All right.
Okay.
See you later on.
See you.
I don't see too many pine needles around, to be perfectly honest.
No, I think that's
unless we're going to have to climb higher and get them down. Tell me, what are you doing now at the moment, work-wise and all that kind of stuff?
So I'm working for a company called Cookson's Precious Metals, which we're a big jewellers, and what we do is we supply to all the smaller jewellers.
Oh, you're dealing with the trade then in that case?
Yeah.
You're not dealing with the likes of me, the ordinary punter.
No. Thanks for that.
And do you think if you hadn't gone and done the course... Actually, I want you to tell me a bit about the course. What was it like anyway?
Basically, what it does, it gets your reading and your spellings and all that kind of thing up to scratch, which it wouldn't have been. When I done my Leaving Cert, I would have probably had the reading age of maybe 14 or so.
Yeah.
And since then, I've got my reading age right up to what it should be now.
It's funny, and because in a way it sounds a bit contradictory, because you obviously have a lot of confidence because you're doing this.
Yeah. Oh, well.
And yet, when you were saying in your school days, you didn't have...
I wouldn't have had half the confidence I have.
So did the course help you? And if you hadn't done the course, would you be doing the job? Or would life be very different for you?
Well, I think it was the whole fact that I moved away from home and I was out of my comfort zone. I had to kind of make an effort to get to know people and kind of, get that confidence. But the confidence really came from the reading and not feeling that I was stupid anymore, because everybody...
Did you actually feel you were stupid?
Oh yeah, definitely. I thought because I couldn't read and everybody else could, and nobody else seemed to have that much of trouble with doing their homework or things like that there, I would have felt now that I was stupid in
But
school.
people didn't actually tell you were stupid, did they?
Well, teachers would have, but they wouldn't have said it in open to class, in front of everybody. They would have said it now after. I would have trouble doing my homework or whatever, and they would have held me back and given me punishment work and pretty much says, why can't you do it? If everybody else in the class can do it no problem and you can't, does that not tell you something,
Do you think that doing the course has made a huge difference to your life? I mean, you've got your job now, you're living, supporting yourself.
Yeah.
If you hadn't done the course, would you be in this situation today?
The way I look at the course for Selbridge would be it saved my way of life, because now I'm more confident going into job interviews, whatever, for jobs, even for the type of job that I'd be looking for. I'd be going for decent jobs. The confidence has come on something seriously.
The midges in this place would drive you crazy at this time of year. Anyway, Johnny's gone way up into the forest to get more pine needles for our cup of tea, which I can't wait to taste. But it gives me an opportunity to tell you our free phone number once again. It's 1800 20 20 65. Go to a phone, your friend's phone, a public phone, it doesn't matter, but please dial us. The lines are open now. It's 1800 20 20 65. Give your details, your name, address, etc, etc. And we'll send you out a copy of the free Read Right Now workbook. Now, while I'm heading up there to find Johnny, you're going to learn all about contractions. You'll see what I mean in just a minute.
This week's spelling tip is about how we use apostrophes to shorten words. An apostrophe looks like this and is used when we push words together to make them shorter. These are called contractions. Let's look at some examples. You can see that these words, its, he'll and your, all have something in common. They've all got an apostrophe in the middle to show that some letters are missing. So, if we move the letters of its apart at the apostrophe and put in an I, we get two words, it and is. The second example has more than one letter missing, and if we put them back in, we get that he'll is the short form of the two words, he will. Finally, we can see that the apostrophe in your replaces the A in you are. Some more common examples are do not, which is shortened to don't, could not, couldn't, she is, she's, and you would, you'd. We use these shortened forms all the time when we're speaking, but be careful of using them when you're writing. They're not really suitable for something like a formal letter, but they're fine for a letter to a friend. While Derek and Johnny were gathering pine needles, Antonio laid the fire.
Sorry about that. I'm not sure we've actually got enough pines anyway.
Should do it.
For the tea.
However, he left the tricky bit for Johnny, getting an ember to set the sticks alight.
Talk about two primitive hunter-gatherers here. Anyway, we're going into the tent. We're going to have the pine needle tea, and you can have a look back at what we covered in today's programme.
In this week's programme, our reading tip was about reading text messages and our writing tip was about writing them. We saw how text messages often use shortcuts by dropping vowels to make words shorter, or you can use numbers or single letters instead of part of a word or even a full word. Our spelling tip was about another way of taking shortcuts, when we use an apostrophe to shorten phrases, like it is to it's, or do not to don't. And for our Get It, it was back to mobile phones again, when we learned how information like your name, saved phone numbers, and how you pay your mobile bill is stored on your SIM card. Putting his new skills to work, Johnny gave making fire another go, but this time with success.
You got an ember. Look at that. Careful now, careful. Put it in a tinder bundle. Form a little bit of a nest around the ember. Okay, don't squeeze or anything. Okay, go. Make sure it doesn't spread, and just gently blow with it. Very gently at first, and when it starts glowing harder, you can blow harder.
And with the fire came refreshments, just to bring the day to a close.
Thank you very much, Antonio. My pine needle tea in a homemade mug. So how's the day been for you, Johnny?
Oh, it's been good. Really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed it.
Another new experience for you.
Oh, big time. I wouldn't have done anything like this before.
And what about not having the creature comforts of home?
Well, it'll make me appreciate them an awful lot more.
All right. Well, the fire is smoking away here, and after this I'm going to head back to the smoke of the city. But next week I'll be with Patricia Penrose and her family on Carlingford Lough, and they're going to make a raft, and hopefully it's not going to sink on the water. They're going out on the raft, so I'm looking forward to that. In the meantime, boys, best of luck. Thanks for taking part in the programme. Thanks, Antonio. And to you at home, cheers until next week. It's brutal.